Quote of the week for me is, if you're going to put your product in beta, put your business model in beta with it. And that was Joe Kraus from Google Ventures. He's one of the partners of Google Ventures. We've talked about this a lot on this podcast, but our entire business model, from what we initially thought it was going to look like, and then just over the years, it shifted so much. And the industry partially is to blame for that and get some of the credit for that, because it's forced us to shift and learn new things. But we're always trying something brand new, and so it always feels like what we're offering to our clients is somewhat in beta because we've got to be ahead of the curve. So I like that thought, put your business model in beta with it, because that's kind of what we're doing. Our business model is based on what we're offering to our clients.
So meaning your business model is constantly evolving, constantly changing.
It's always in beta. You're just constantly changing it, and your product if your product is constantly changing, then I think your entire business model has to change. You got to be able to bob and weave and try new things.
We keep on going back to Instagram the last 6 months, but I mean, a totally different product. So talk about having your company in beta, or Instagram was very successful with hundreds of millions of users, and they're like, you know what? Let's add 6 new features.
Yep.
And now we're a different company, and now Snapchat's like shaking in their boots because all of a sudden, like, Instagram's the new game in town. So.
Right. But I mean, the old model was to be like, put on your business plan what this is, what the company is, and then you go and sell that thing. But now it's you just have to be different every single year.
Well, especially in this industry.
Yep.
I think if you build houses or something, maybe you can be a little bit more.
Well, but even now, like for cars, like Fiat's not just like, well, we're going to build the best gosh darn car out there. And they're thinking like, well, if we're going to survive as a company, maybe Chrysler needs to be a cab company that has self-driving vehicles, and we're not going to create the technology for it. We're going to partner with somebody like a Google.
And we use this example almost
amazing.
ad nauseum, but we always talk about the Blockbuster example, which Blockbuster used to be worth $5 billion, but
terrible foresight. They had a business model and they didn't shift.
They should have went the Netflix model. So you know what? For us to stay in business, this whole like people coming and getting late fees and like coming to rent their DVDs and bringing it back 2 days later is not.
And
it's not efficient
even if they
enough.
Had overpaid for Netflix,
but even
in its infancy,
even the start, because Netflix started with the just mail to the people their DVDs and you mail it back. But even just start there, like people have to drive to come get it, walk through the aisles, and then drive and drop it off, just to not know like this isn't the most efficient. Like Starbucks, like you have to go in, you have to wait in line, or we can have an app where it's ready for you.
I mean. Well, let's use the Facebook example too. They didn't necessarily think like, oh, linear is the best. They didn't have the foresight to know that, and Snapchat did. But they tried to buy them, and then they just copied them, and they're going to be successful right there. Blockbuster didn't even try anything. It was like,
I know exactly.
I never remember seeing something like, hey, you can now rent Blockbuster online. I don't remember seeing any of that. So they watched Netflix. And even to an extent, Redbox, right? Was that the other one? You can just do the vending machine. They watched those starting to gain traction. Yeah. So even if you can forgive them that they didn't come up with it first, they could have duplicated it or tried to buy them or partner or something, and they just didn't. And now they don't exist.